Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It is the 31st of March. I should have known that. I actually should have known that. And I did know that earlier. I've actually got, as we'll talk about later, I've got two closings today. Same family, closing on their existing, closing on their new one. So that's super exciting. So I did know that it was the 31st, but I got a little carried away because as I'm busy typing hello to everybody, I missed something that Jim said. So I have to go back. What's happening? So Jim, I missed it. Something about a watch. How did I miss that? I missed something. Anyway, there's a tornado watch, I'm guessing. Pam says, how scary, Jim. I didn't know there was a watch in our area. And then Jim says, yeah, a tornado watch yesterday across the street from us at Lake Louisa. Oh, at the Lake Louisa State Park. Thank goodness it didn't hit us, but my solar pool cover got shredded. Oh my gosh, where was I? Well, you know what? I digress. I know that the weather originally yesterday was supposed to be a rainy day. That I noticed when I was out with clients on Saturday morning. They mentioned it was supposed to be a rainy Sunday. But it actually didn't start raining and the sky didn't get that mysterious shade of blue-gray until late in the afternoon. And so I'm wondering if that's when it was. But well, I'm glad everybody is okay. And yeah, when those kind of pop up, it's a little bit daunting. So anyway, okay, well, good morning, everybody. Thank you again for joining it. I'm going to lose my mess because the dog back there is scratching the door. It's going to drive me bonkers. These are the things that, like, Eric was able to kind of like, make sure that like we had, anyway, it's crazy chaos. It's Penny. Of course it's Penny. She always scratches at the door. She scratches at it. Penny, you're okay. Oh, Allie's going over there now. Oh, the Allie, that wasn't a cue for you, baby, but thank you. Anyway, okay, so we have a lot to talk about. As always, there's some real estate topics, some fun personal topics. We have a baby update today, so you'll have to stay tuned for that one. Hopefully everybody is doing okay. A lot of people text me and message me, and they're asking how I'm doing. And I will tell you, it depends on the day. It depends on the moment during the day. I'm pretty busy mentally with work and appointments and details and emails and text messages and computer stuff and the other physical part of it, the going out and the doing this, that, and the other. And so I keep myself pretty busy during the day. Night times are tough, but I miss him terribly. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate you guys reaching out, and I try not to make this a blubber broadcast, not broadcast, but live stream where I just sit and cry the whole time. You guys wouldn't want to keep tuning in for that, but I do appreciate you asking. It is tough. This is you're my friends, you're my family, but I know that you don't necessarily want to hear all of those day-to-day details. But I will tell you, it's very difficult. A day doesn't go by where I don't think that he'll be here, he'll walk through the door, or he'll call, or he'll text. It's a really weird adjustment. Sometimes I feel like he's just away. Sometimes I feel like he broke up with me. I told my daughter that the other day. I was like, what's weird? I feel like he broke up with me. There's a very weird feeling when it comes to grief. So I navigate it. And thank you for reaching out and always checking. So with that, I'm going to stop talking about it so I don't start crying. Okay, let me see who else popped in, if anybody. Let me scroll down here. So we got Fanny. I think you were the last one that popped in. Ernie. Oh, Fred popped in. Stephanie. Stephanie, good morning from Pollen Central, North Carolina. I love it. I know. I was, you'll be shocked to hear that I went to a McDonald's drive-through yesterday to get my large Diet Coke, and the little transition piece of the window frame, like the windowsill, for lack of the proper word, was like so yellow. So I can only imagine what it's like there. So interesting. All right, well, let's get to our brewing topics. I have lots to talk to you about. Here's a hint, but here's a quick message for you today as I take my first sip of coffee. Let's go on to our brewing topics. Okay, so here are our topics, but you know what? I got to pop over because whenever these little transition pieces pop over or come on, I'm able to glance over at the text messages, and Rob, what's this? Messed up, had an ammonia-induced hallucination, not sure of anything anymore. What? Oh my goodness. So Rob, you need to, here's the thing. We are your friends and family as you are mine. So if there's anything you need, you just let us know here in this Heart and Home Orlando little coffee time text. Let us know how you're doing and you know what we can do or what prayers we can do for you or send to you. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's got me a little intrigued. So let me know what that means. Ammonia induced. You know what? I feel like with Eric, I do feel like there was something that they talked about. Anyway, all right, I digress. I'm going to have to go back and rethink that, but let me know how you're doing. Okay. Woo. All right, brewing topics. Look before you leap, a tale of two condos and mean girls. All right, so the look before you leap. So this seems kind of commonsensical, but sometimes we don't have time for this. But I will tell you that one of the things that's really important to do, especially if you are moving and purchasing a new home and maybe you're not super familiar with the area. Maybe you live in the state, but it's just a different area, different location. Maybe you're out of state, out of the country. You just don't know anything about anything. And you're doing your research before you get in touch with your realtor. You're just kind of doing stuff on these third-party sites, right? You're looking at homes.com or Realtor or Zillow. And you've set up your little property search through that. Well, that's fine. As we've said before, if you're just trying to gather information, that's fine. But when you are serious and when you are ready to move forward on something, that's when you want to make sure that you get yourself a realtor that will help guide you through the process and that's knowledgeable in that area, the surrounding areas where you're looking. But if you are starting to accumulate, and by the way, that realtor can set you up on a property search through the MLS so that you're getting the more updated information as opposed to ones on Zillow that may or may not be 100% correct or current, because sometimes a home goes pending, but it hasn't quite caught up to the third-party sites yet. They're pretty good, but they're not perfect. And when you are ready, you want it to be as accurate information as possible. So, so let's say you have accumulated your list of, 10, 15 homes that you like. So first of all, congratulations if you have found that many properties that have piqued your interest that you feel like you could call your new home. So if you are in the area, I always tell people one of the things that you want to do, if possible, and again, I know this is not always possible, but to explore the area. You have the physical address of the house, right? You know where it's located, at least as far as the address goes. So maybe if you, instead of trying to view 15 properties, let's narrow them in. And one of the ways that we can narrow them in, first of all, if there's 15 all true, good, viable, perfect options, then we're going to see all 15 of them. But if out of that 15, you haven't done a slightly deeper dive to determine, oh gosh, you know what? Like for instance, if you drive through a community and there's 3 houses that are in that same community, and you drive to that community just, kind of out previewing, right? You're out kind of just exploring the area, which I highly encourage people to do. And you drive past that community, you drive in the community and through the community, or you drive around the community. And if that area in general, or if that community specifically does not feel like it's a good fit for you, you're like, yeah, no, I don't like where it's located. It's like nobody cuts their grass. There's clearly not an HOA, or it's just too run down. Every house is hitting that piece in their life where they all need to get, or that time in their life where they need to be repainted, and nobody's repainting, and so the houses look terrible. Like if you happen to drive into or through that community and there were 3 houses in there that were originally on your list, and you're like, yeah, that community is out. Well, that just took 3 of them off of our list. That's good. I always tell my clients, including and excluding is always progress. Whether we love the home and it stays on our short list, or whether we don't like the home and we fold that. I always tell people, fold that piece of paper over. When I give them their synopsis, their customer synopsis of the property that we're touring, if I give them the whole stack, every property that we're going to look at in a folder, and if we see one that we're like, that is a definite no, like that's just not going to happen, whether it was the house, whether it was the layout, whether it was whatever was the disqualifying factor, we fold that piece of paper over and we don't look at it anymore. Okay, it doesn't mean you can't look at it anymore, but if you already know that you've got other options that are better, put that one away. We don't need to clutter our mind and our thought process with homes that we've already disqualified, okay? So you fold that piece of paper over. So and the reason this is important, and this is why, because as a realtor, if we know, okay, our client is here, they've, here's the 15 homes that they wanted to see. They came in town. They drove around that first day kind of on their own and kind of drove past some of them. It gets you a little bit more excited about the touring and going to see the houses on the inside. It also allows us to more definitively narrow down that list so that we're not wasting time ping-ponging all around looking at homes that as soon as we drive into it, you're like, oh yeah, no, this one's out. Well, guess what? We just had 3 showings scheduled in that neighborhood. And for the next hour, we have nothing to do now because you don't want to go see those homes because we had them scheduled on our itinerary. So one of the things that you can do, because remember, this is your house. This is where you want to live, right? This is where you want to feel at peace in that home, and you want to create that nest for your family. Whether your family is young and growing and you're adding to it, or whether your nest is a bit empty and it's kind of lonely, either way, this is your home. So you get to make that determining factor as to whether or not you like the house or like the area or want to consider it as a viable option. But I think it's important, if possible, if and when, I guess I should say, if and when possible, that before you give your final list, give a final list to your realtor to do a drive around. And then that way you can go, okay, this area, yeah, I thought I was going to like it, but there's just something about it that doesn't feel right. Or you might go, love that neighborhood. That is absolutely going to be my favorite. I'm so excited to see the 3 houses that are in there. I feel like that's it. Like, you get so excited. So again, including or excluding is always progress. And I think that's important. So the look before you leap really just means, as far as the brewing topics go, it means try to, when possible, take a look at the area or the community or even at the exterior of the house, just a little peek before you do your actual home tours. Because remember, excuse me, when we schedule those are, I've said this before, realtors don't have this magical key that we can just get into any house at any time. We have to go through a process behind the scenes, and we try to map it out geographically, efficiently. We have to schedule out times. We want to make sure that we allow you enough time to view a property, but then it's going to take us 20 minutes to get to the next one. Well, that one's homeowner occupied and they can only do it between this time and this time. So it's just logistics, but it's time consuming logistics. And so we want to be courteous. And I will say there's nothing worse than a seller, and consider yourself the seller in this situation, that you have a showing requested for Tuesday at 2 p.m. And you're like, okay, we have a showing at Tuesday at 2 p.m. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, that's really the worst day to do it, but I have to sell the house. So, all right, I'm going to pack up the kids. I'm going to pack up the pets. We're going to get out of the house. I don't know. I'll find a way to make it look good. You scramble, you get out of the house, and then somebody decides that they're not going to come to that 2 o'clock showing because they drove past it like a couple days ago and decided they didn't like the neighborhood. What an inconvenience for that seller. And I really like to try to have people be courteous, and I try to do the same thing. If I have a client that's taken a home off their list, then I try to let that listing agent know, hey, they've changed their mind. We're not going to be able to view that property. Because there really is. I mean, people live in these houses when they do. Sometimes they're vacant, and that's not an inconvenience. But anyway, so just food for thought. Look before you leave. When and if possible, or if and when possible, drive around a little bit and explore, and determine whether or not the area, the house, the community is in an area that you feel like is going to be on your, you're not going to exclude it just by location alone. So anyway, that's a good tip. That happens quite a bit. And so it was one that we have a little running list going. Oop, I'm so sorry. Is that Jenny? I'm sorry. We have a running list of topics going. And so this is one that we wanted to talk about just because it really does pertain to quite a lot of us. So anyway, all right, let me scroll down, see if anything else is happening over here before we go to our second one. That was very sweet, Amy. It was very sweet. I did not reach out because I didn't want to bother you, but I am so very sorry and pray for you. Well, thank you. That's very sweet. Miss Michelle is here. Good morning, sunshine. You look beautiful. Thank you, Miss Michelle. You guys are very sweet. I wasn't expecting all of those sweet things. Stephanie, we're coming for vacation at the end of April and plan to do some neighborhood drive-throughs. Any suggestions on what we should be looking for? Yeah, Stephanie, I'll do my little promo. If you want to text me or call me at 407-848-8042, once you determine kind of where you want to be, if you haven't, or I know you said, I think Claremont was it last week, that was kind of the area, then yeah, there's definitely some places that I think you can some places that I can tell you to go. It really just depends on what you're looking for though. So oh, Daryl just popped in. We're just getting online. Good morning, gang. Good morning, Mr. Daryl and Jen. Everyone's saying hello. I love you guys. You're also you all know each other. I just wonder, we should have like a Heart and Home Orlando coffee time, like we did our live stream that we did. Where was it? Oh, at Filigree Coffee. Yeah, Filigree Coffee. We should do another one of those so we can all kind of meet and greet. Anyway, all right. So let's move on to our second brewing topic, which is a tale of two condos. All right. So this is just a story. And it's just fun to share these stories because I do think we can all learn from them in some capacity. So on Saturday morning, I was out with some repeat clients. They were referred to me by another friend who's referred so many people, and I'm so grateful for that. They bought a condo out here, short-term rental, as an investment property years ago. Eric actually helped quite a bit with that one, as I recall. That one, so yeah, they use it as an investment property. So they live in the home whenever they want to as their own, Disney vacation home. But then they have a property management company manage the property, and the bookings keep the mortgage paid on it. So anyway, so now looking to purchase another one, but this one to be more of a primary residence, but still in a short-term rental area for price point and for the opportunity to maybe utilize it as some additional income if the situation ever warranted. So Saturday morning, so first of all, part of this story is, my goodness, it is difficult to show clients investment properties and short-term rentals. It is so difficult, and I am so frustrated sometimes with the other agent on the other side of it. I don't even know it's their fault. It's just, so if you have an investment property and you're using it as a short-term rental, it's a good sign when it's booked, right? I mean, that's a good thing. That means that people are booking that property and whoever owns it is making the money off the booking. So that's fantastic. But it also means it's very difficult to show the property if the owner of that property is trying to sell it. Because when it is trying to be sold, they're still booking it, and it makes it very difficult to show the property. So it is, I always say, it's almost always a hit or miss, and in most cases it's a miss, meaning, is it going to be available for us to see the day that we want to see it? So my client sent me a long list of properties. We had 3 of them that were confirmed, and then 2 that were declined, and then the others we just didn't hear back at all, even with the repeated follow-up on my part, because I mean, I'm constantly behind the scenes texting people, and I'm asking them for feedback if they've shown excuse me, one of my listings. Sometimes they don't respond to that either. It's very difficult, but at any rate, so we did get out. We got to see 2 of them on Saturday morning, and it's just a story. It's just a tale of 2 condos. So these condos were right around the corner from each other, different communities, but very close, similar proximity to area and shopping and all of that. And the first condo had a great location within the community. It was an end unit. It was close to the pool, and in the back was very private. It had their own little patio kind of in the back. And then there was some woods, and there was like a little pond off to the side and a little fountain, and really nobody around them. Obviously it's condos, so there's people around, but it wasn't like a big open thing where you saw everybody's backyard. Now this one needed some updating, but priced because of it, right? I mean, when they're built in the year that they're built in, unless they've been renovated, then that's typically what it is. But remember, people are using these for short-term rentals. But since my client wanted to use it as a primary, the conversation then kind of changed to things that they would maybe want to do to dress it up a little bit, to make it a little bit more conducive to them living in it as a primary residence. Loved it, loved the unit, loved everything about it, even loved where it was situated within the community and even where the parking would be for that. It was just a really great location, but needed some work. So then the next condo that we saw was similar in size, again, right around the corner, also an end unit, and it was also on the first floor. And it had totally been renovated. It had taller baseboards. It had brand new 12 by 24 plank ceramic tile throughout the entire house. They had replaced the sinks. They had painted the interior. They had added all new appliances. The microwave was new. The refrigerator was new. The oven was new. Like everything, dishwasher was new. And the sinks and the showers, like everything looked new. It was a really nice renovated property. The location was okay too, not as ideal as the first. And when you went, there was a really beautiful view, kind of catty corner from the front. But the back, the lanai part of it, unfortunately, when you would go on your lanai or your patio, however you want to call it, you would see all of the other condo units kind of around you. So there was at least 6 to 8 or more people that also would have their little back patio space kind of out and about looking at yours. So the privacy wasn't there. So the tale of two condos is great location, but needed to be redone on the inside, or subpar location, but was completely renovated. That's a dilemma, right? Because what would you do? There's not a right or a wrong answer to this. This is kind of just a question. And I know for my clients, they decided that they would take the location over the new renovation aspect of it. And I always say that's true. You know, you can change what you want on the inside of the house. You can once you buy it, it doesn't matter if you have an HOA. If you're gutting the inside of your house that is not visible on the exterior, you're not making any exterior changes, you can change the interior of your home. You can knock down those cabinets and add new ones. You can rearrange that kitchen if you want. You can get a plumber out there and reroute plumbing if you need to. So you can completely renovate, but you can't create that privacy necessarily. Now, in some ways you can with the fence and landscaping, so you can. But in this scenario, you were really going to be open and connected to all of these other outdoor patio spaces from all of these other condo units. And so you really can't change your piece of earth. That's kind of what I say. So whenever you find something that might be a little lackluster, maybe there's something about the home on the interior that is not as quite ideal as you might otherwise choose for yourself. Sometimes that will, but the location is fantastic. Sometimes that will weigh more and rank that one higher than the one that is like totally spick and span and completely renovated. I mean, they got rid of the UV lighting. What is it? The ultraviolet, whatever the lighting is, the old kind of lighting with the bulbs, long bulbs in the ceiling. They got that. They redid the ceiling. They put in the flat LEDs. So the other one was really completely renovated and updated. Looked great, but it wasn't the right location. So what would you do in that situation? What do you think your gut would tell you? Would you rather renovate on the inside if the location was ideal, or would you rather not have to deal with that headache and that expense and just purchase something where the location was a little less ideal, but the interior was going to save you in the long run because you wouldn't have to deal with that? I'm always curious about that because again, there's no right or wrong answer. It's like it's you. What would you do? And that's why real estate in some aspects is super fun, because everybody is different. Every transaction is different. Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, Daryl, coffee time karaoke night. Well, you would just win that whole thing. You guys have to hear Daryl sing. One of these days, I'm gonna post some old videos of Eric and Daryl singing together and performing together. You just see what a magnificent dream team they are. They were. Okay, let's move on. But yes, Daryl, you would crush the karaoke. Let's see. Pam says she loves having her backyard back up to the woods, and that she would rather renovate on the inside and go for the location. Agreed. Wilderness explorer. Yes, location always. I agree. I think for me, that would probably be it too. But you have to remember, sometimes it's also about the age and stage and phase of life, right? Because, as someone who is, gets older, they may go, you know what, I don't have the time or the money to deal with getting all of the renovation done that I would want to do. So I'd rather have the peace of mind that it is new appliances and that it's all been done for me. But yeah, I don't ever think there's a right or a wrong answer. I think for me, I would probably choose location as well, for where I am. But anyway, I always think that's interesting. I love to hear what you guys think. All right, so let's do this. Go on to our next topic, which is Mean Girls. So yesterday, I tried to take a day off. I didn't not work. That's terrible grammar. My daughter's over there cringing. I still worked a little bit in when it came to, text messages or emails or some computer things that I needed to do. But my daughter had Elizabeth invited me to go see Mean Girls with her at Dr. Phillips, the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts. So we went there yesterday. So her college friend, Taylor Paris, let me get his title right. He is the assistant company manager. His name is even in there. So he is the assistant company manager, and they went to college together. And he is touring with them and got us some tickets. And so Elizabeth and I had a little day date. We did the matinee performance yesterday, and it was wonderful. So I got Alyssa. Alyssa was gonna go, but I guess let me go back here. There we go. I got Alyssa the shirt. She was going to go, but it depends on the baby's nap times. And originally the timing of the show was not going to work for Easton's nap. So she skipped it with us this time, but me and my girls, we all saw that. And actually my son Forrest several years ago. Well, I guess it was probably more than several, but anyway, it was when it was on Broadway. We went to go see it on Broadway. And what's funny is the girls and I are racking our brain trying to figure out why we went to New York that time. Because so I went with the girls, and Forrest actually flew in and then took the train or the subway or whatever and met us and saw Mean Girls with us. He just came in. I think we just saw that one show, and then we all left the next day. But the girls and I were there for a reason, but we do not know what it was. We're thinking back to all the shows we've seen. We're like, was it Anastasia? Uh-oh, we locked up again. Was it Anastasia, or was it something else? But anyway, we didn't figure it out. So it's good now. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm back. I don't know if I'm back for you, but I'm looking at myself and I'm current again. Sometimes this is like, could you stop talking, lady? Anyway, so Mean Girls. So yeah, so here's my mug. So here is the Mean Girls mug, and then here is your really pretty. I figured I'd get this for you guys, but mostly I was going to try to hold it this way. But remember, that's, again, the problem. So this is for you. You're really pretty people, but I'm a lefty, so I have to hold it this way, which means you get to look at the Mean Girls part. So, okay. Yes, Elizabeth said, loved having an outing with my mama. Yeah, me too, babe girl. Me too. That was really, it was a lot of fun. She was full mama mode. She's nursing the baby until the very last second. And the baby goes down for a nap, and then she zooms in the car, and she gets here, and I've got my car running. We zoom, and we're out. We get there. We truck on into the theater. We grab our tickets. We get our seats, and boom, then we had the show. So anyway, we did get to see Taylor, though. That was wonderful. So it was very nice to see him. So anyway, okay. So what's going on over here? Anything else where I move on to my next one? So the Grateful Drifter, good morning, morning from sunny London. Sunny day for you today. I don't know. What do we have today? It's a little overcast right now. I don't know what our forecast is for us right now. Vicky, isn't the 3 rules of real estate location, but I would want a completely renovated house. I totally get it. And yes, that's absolutely it. Location. But, in fairness to that, which by the way, that is true, right? But in fairness, location can cost, right? And sometimes people's budgets, their location has to be on the same level as their budget, right? So their budget and their location have to coincide. I can't afford to go live in some of these areas that, the location's fantastic, but I'd never be able to afford to live there. And then there's other people that are like, well, I like this area. I could never afford to live over there. So It all has to be what's comfortable to us and to our financial situation at the time. So, all right. Oh, we got somebody else popped on. I wish I could see without my glasses. I have to tell you, I feel like my eyes are getting worse. When I take them off, everything is more blurry than they used to be. So anyway, Gail. Well, good morning, Gail. We're happy to have you here. Have you been with us before? If not, it doesn't matter. Welcome on in. And to all of you that watch and don't know how to text or chat in with us, that's totally okay. Oh, Miss Florida and Kathleen, you're a cool mom. Actually, it was funny. Elizabeth got the I'm a cool mom keychain. So I thought that was very funny. Kim says, we have done 2 complete renovations and I never want to do it again. I'm probably with you on that. I've never done a renovation. So here's where I'm a bit, I guess I'm spoiled, and I come by it honestly. It's not intentional, but my dad, when I was a kid, my dad was a printer. He owned a printing company, and this is again before everyone had computers. It was before you had a printer in your room. It was before you could go to Staples or Office Max and just have them put together a booklet for you. But there are still big print companies out there. But that's what my dad did. He had a print shop called the Viking Press. And he, where was I going with this? Oh my gosh, it just something clicked over here and I just lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Allie, what was I talking about? She doesn't know. Oh no, what was I talking about? I don't remember what it was. Oh my gosh, I was talking about my dad, but what was it about? I don't know. And since you're not here to talk back to me, I don't know what I was talking about. Anyway, I got sidetracked. So what happens, I've told you before, as I'm looking at you here, renovations. Thank you. Print shops, renovations. Thank you. So the renovations. Renovations. Yes. I've never had to do that. So my dad, yes, now I have my train of thought back. Okay. So my dad was a printer and he used to have printing contracts with all of the car dealerships around where we grew up. So my dad, back in the day, that's the way businessmen worked, right? He's like, hey, I'll buy a car from you. I get a contract. I can do whatever. And so we always had new cars. We had lots of cars when I was growing up. And it's just one of those things. It's like, it wasn't like we had the most expensive luxury vehicles. I mean, my very first car was a red Ford Escort with no AC and no radio. That's it. But it's what my dad bought for me, and I was super grateful because I could drive back and forth to all my, go to school, go to all the games and everything that I needed to do. But so I come by having new things naturally. My dad had that. We always had new cars. He always wanted us to have a safe car. And when it came to houses, I mean, I grew up in the same house my whole entire life. Like I never moved. But when Eric and I first moved, we moved into an apartment. So obviously that was not new. But then our first home together as a family where Forrest and Alyssa were born and brought home from the hospital was to our townhome that we purchased in Virginia. And then we built a house and then we moved here and built a house and then we built this house. So we've always had new things and new cars. And now Eric would argue because I always had the new car. He always had the hand-me-down. So whatever my new car was, after I drove it for a couple of years or a few years, he would want me to have a new car, and then he would take my old one. That was kind of the way he was always like that. It's like he would take the hand-me-downs or the leftovers, and he never squabbled about it, which is why I was so stinking excited that we got him a truck because he loved that truck. And he loved a truck that we had in Virginia that we had to leave behind when we moved here. It was kind of old and on its last leg anyway. But anyway, so that's it. So about the new stuff. So the renovation is where we were going with that. Amy went all the way around town and came back to it. I don't think I would want to renovate. I think I would just rather have it new if I could. That I think would be my preference. Now, that's not to say that I don't love the incredible character and history in some houses, especially when you go to some areas where, in Georgia, there's just so many gorgeous old historic houses. In Virginia, you go to Williamsburg. Oh my gosh, like the history in some of the areas that I think I might be more open to, but then they might have ghosts. So I don't know. Anyway, all right, let's move on. Okay. Allie's talking about Gail. Oh, Gail is new to this stream. Well, I'm glad you're here, Gail. I'm glad Allie answered the question. And of course, Gail, if there's anything you need, let me know. We talk real estate, we talk family, we talk health and happiness and sadness and all sorts of stuff. So pretty much whatever anybody needs, we are happy to talk about it. All right. So let us move on to, let's see, what do we want to talk about now? Let's do, I'm going to do wishes. Wishes. All right. Oh, and I forgot the bump. Here, I'm going to do the bump. Okay, there we go. Did it right this time. Push the right button. All right, so today we have a lot of fun stuff. We have Dennis and Brenda. In fact, I just got a message. In fact, it texted here. I just want to make sure I look at it real fast because I texted everybody before we started our coffee time this morning to make sure we were on track. Yeah, we are so good. Okay, so Dennis and Brenda they're times two today. They have already closed already this morning. Sellers have already signed. Buyers already signed a few days ago. Money was already transferred. And they've closed officially this morning, bright and early, on their existing home. And then their funds have already been wired to the Pulte, which is new construction, to the builder's title company in preparation for closing there. So boom, boom, hot diggity dog. I love that. On that note, I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but let's go ahead and finish up our congratulations. So Ron, closing on a beautiful resale home, not too far from here, by the way, a beautiful community of Waterley, gorgeous, gorgeous home. He's going to be closing on that this week. And Taylor and Jordan are having a design center appointment this week, which is really exciting. They'd already contracted a couple weeks ago. But this week they're going to be here for their design center appointment. And those are really fun so that you can kind of go and, pick all the pretties, I call it, in there. Real quick, let's talk about a simultaneous or a back-to-back closing. And that's what Dennis and Brenda are doing today. They've already done it. So what we did is they sold their existing home. It was actually here in my community. So they're neighbors of mine. So we sold their existing home. It was scheduled to close today. Like I said, it's already closed. The sellers pre-signed a few days ago. The buyers were cash buyers, so they also had already signed. The funds had already been wired. So they were being held at escrow at the title company. Now, the same day, my clients that sold their home here are trying to close on a new home over in a community around the corner, new construction home. And so we scheduled and arranged a simultaneous or a back-to-back closing. So the way that works is we instructed the title company here that Land Trust Titles, who I work with for all of my listings, they are fantastic. They respond to me super early in the morning and super late at night and even on the weekends. And they shouldn't do that, but they do. And I appreciate it because sometimes there are things like today, early Monday morning, and boom, they've already got two of them taken care of for me. So pat on the back to them. So I appreciate them. But what they did is when the funds came for the sale of their existing home, they took that pile of money. The title company did. They're like, okay, we've closed now on this house. This is going to go to close on your new home that you're going to buy today. And the remainder goes back to your checking account. So now the title company for the new construction home already has their money, and we don't have to wait for it to go from this bank to this account, from this account be rewired to this account, and then wait for it to reflect there. So we just skipped that middleman. So instead of it being a triangular thing, we just had title company 1 wire the funds directly to title company 2. And that made things go seamlessly. So I'm super excited for them. So congratulations to them. That's very exciting. Oh my goodness. So exciting. And I love it when it works out because sometimes we are sitting here and we are stressing things, but at the moment we're good to go. All right, let's go. This is fun. I know you guys want to do this one. Let's do the baby update. Okay, look at them. Look at them. Let's just watch them. Look at them. Can you believe it, guys? Like, watch those babies. Look at them. I'm just going to watch this for 5 minutes. We're just going to let this go over and over and over again. So they're both walking. Mimi and Poppy bought them those for Christmas. They got their little walker things. Elsie got her little purple and pink, and Easton got his little blue and red. Not trying to be, color specific, but got them their separate ones. And it's so cute to see them just walking around now. They're just. Elsie cracks me up with that one straight leg that she does. But oh my gosh! So they are at the stage of being very, very mobile, and they no longer like or are content just kind of sit. They want to crawl everywhere. They want to climb on everything. Yeah, so they're just so stinking adorable. I really can't stand it. They're so sweet. They're so smart. They've got their little personalities. They're starting to communicate in certain ways, where it may not be official words and stuff yet. It's funny because Easton and I have a little, I guess I'll tell everybody, it cracks me up. So Easton, and it's because he's here. Easton will, in the morning, I'll go, hey, Easton. And he'll look at me, I'll go, I love you. And I whisper it, and then I'll go, it's our secret. And then he goes, every stinking time. I'm like, Easton, I love you. And then he does a raspberry at me. Cracks me up, but it's our communication. He thinks that's the appropriate response. But anyway, let's see. Oh, Maddie's favorite part of coffee time. That's so funny. Is he watching? Is he watching? Oh my goodness. Yes, they are precious. I agree. They are absolutely precious. I agree. Sydney, yes. I know. They steal the show, don't they? All right. I guess we can move on to something else, but I just want to watch them all day long. And I will. Look at them. They're just so cute. Anyway. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about the word of the day. This is a good one for you guys.
Oh, now come on, Amy. Tell me what's the word.
Okay, release and cancellation. And what does this mean? Yes, I know that's not just one word, it's multiple words. But release and cancellation, what does this document mean, and what does it cover, and how does it work? So I'll use, again, a recent example. So I had a client I had the buyer. The client was looking to purchase a home, first-time home buyer. It was a bit of a difficult process because of the type of loan that they needed. First-time home buyer, they were getting some down payment assistance. There are some wonderful programs out there, by the way, for down payment assistance, first-time home buyers. But it can make things more difficult because in this particular situation, this particular client had a closing cost contribution from the bank, which was the lender, and a down payment assistance through the county. And it was a wonderful thing. It just really limited our ability to switch or change lenders when things started to get difficult. So things started to get difficult. It was a little bit at the tip top of that price point, which kind of goes back to when we've discussed before about pre-approvals and should you send a pre-approval for what your offer amount is? And I'm like, no, if your pre-approval is for more, let us know where your flexibility is, because in this case, it would have helped a little bit if we weren't maxed out at the approval for the property that we contracted on. We did fully contract on it. They accepted our offer. We went through the process, and the hiccups were actually not my client's fault. It ultimately stemmed from an HOA issue. While the underwriting process of the loan was going through, an HOA, I believe, is supposed to set aside like 10% for their emergency fund in reserves, I guess they call it. And I guess this HOA didn't have it anyway. And so what that meant from the lender's perspective is like, well, if the HOA is not keeping enough of the money set aside like they're supposed to, then they can do an assessment and they can raise those HOA fees. And this client can't afford an HOA fee that's higher. Therefore, we're going to have to decline this loan. Something along those terms. So anyway, so the bummer was that we had to then submit a release and cancellation. And what that document means is we are going to cancel our contract, unfortunately, that all parties have signed. We're starting the process, but we now have to cancel. So the cancellation is we are canceling this contract. We are no longer moving forward. And the release part of it is twofold. It's going to reference the contractual obligations, the legalities of being under contract, because we're canceling the contract and we therefore want you to release us of any and all and future obligations of this contract that we have agreed to and that we have signed. We're canceling that, so we want to be released from those obligations. And the second part of it is that we would like that earnest money deposit to be released and refunded back to the buyer. Now that can be tricky because all of this has to happen. Let's just say you're doing this in relation to an inspection issue. That has to be done within a specific period of time that is created on your offer and in your contract. It's usually 7 days, maybe 10 days, could be 5 days, but let's just say 7 to 10 days is your inspection period, which we've said before. If something comes up in that inspection and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was going to have to replace the whole roof, and I didn't realize this was a problem and that was a problem, I can't do it, I'm going to change my mind, I like to cancel the contract. You're in your safety window during that period of time. So there's no question about your earnest money deposit. Once you have passed that inspection period, your earnest money is now at risk still. So if my client had just said, I changed my mind, I don't like the condo anymore, forget it, I want to back out, I just want to cancel. Well, we could still cancel the contract, but we would not necessarily be owed that earnest money deposit back. But in this case, because there was a financing contingency placed in the offer, it's always there. If you look at it, the financing contingency is there. And you have 30 days to obtain that financing unless you've noted otherwise. And we were within that time period. So we did our due diligence. It was really sad. It was very disappointing, really devastating for the client, trying to purchase their first home and to have it not work out. But we sent in the release and cancellation within our obligated timeline contractually. And the seller pushed back. The seller's like, we want to keep that money. And we're like, well, I understand why you want to keep it. I do. As a human, I get it. You want to keep that money because you've now taken it off the market for almost a month. And now you have to put it back on and you've lost money because you've had to pay more mortgage payments on it. And my client wasn't able to see this through to the finish line. I get it. They also made some inspection repairs and requests done that cost them money that the seller has already invested into the property that, I'm like, and on those, I'm like, you'd had to do them anyway for the next buyer. So we can't really claim that one. But I understood where the seller was coming from. But my due diligence is not to the seller in this situation. It's to my client. It's to the buyer. And I said, I understand and I sympathize with them. But my client did not meet the financing part of it. He will give you the decline letter. And that is exactly what we did. They still pushed back. They're like, well, let's split it in half. The seller can keep half and the buyer can keep half. And I said, well, that's very generous. However, no, my client is due his entire earnest money deposit back. It's a lot of money for a young person. They can't afford, even though ethically and like emotionally and humanity wise, I totally get the fairness in saying, okay, look, we totally understand. We took the home off the market. But the bottom line is my client did everything they could do. In fact, I had somebody reach out and say, well, why didn't he try to change lenders? He didn't do everything within his power. And I said, well, actually, it's because the lender that he was using was offering a closing cost contribution that another lender is not going to provide. So we weren't able to switch lenders. The nature of his loan in general was not accommodating to switching lenders. So anyway, it was kind of a sad one. But the release and cancellation again is our term of the day, right? Cancellation, you're canceling your contract, and the release, I'm releasing both parties, by the way, both parties, both realtors, both sellers and buyers. Everyone is being released from their contractual obligations and the releasing of the funds that are in escrow back to the buyer. So anyway, so there's your word for the day. Hopefully that makes sense. What else is going on? Susan says, Maddie loves his Miss Amy. He also really loves the musical transitions. Like, what's the word? Well, me too. Of course. We all like those. All right. Well, speaking of that, do we have one? Let's do what I'm watching. Okay, so I just finished this last night. It was only 6 episodes, I think. So I had a yesterday. I was when I got back from Mean Girls with Elizabeth. I was so tired. I've not been that tired in a very, very, very long time. So I told my kids, like, I have to go lay down. I was like, I need to go lay down. So I went and I laid down, and although I couldn't go to sleep because it was a little too early to go to sleep, but I ended up watching like the last 3 episodes in a row of this. So I finished this. It's called Caught. And it's based on Harlan Coben, the novel by Harlan Coben, Caught, and it's good. I liked it. It was worth my time watching it. I don't regret that I watched it. All right, let me do real quick. Let's go through the listings real fast. I don't know if we updated them at all. But actually, there was another thing we needed to do today too. Let's see. Anyway, so Davenport with a pool, Winter Garden 1-story. We're gonna do a price reduction on that one today. Kissimmee and Kindred, Groveland 1-story, getting a lot of activity on that one out in Groveland. And then we have the townhouse and the other home getting ready to come on the market in Horizon West. Interestingly, the one that sold out in Mineola and that went under contract in 2 days. I have another one of the exact same floor plan now that is going to go on the market here soon-ish. Once I have an exact date, I'll let you know. But that one went under contract pretty quickly. And again, kudos to the owners on that one because I was really kind of sweating it. It's kind of sweating the appraisal a little bit. And nope, it appraised. And part of that was because the sellers were very understanding and did not push to go higher on the list price, which most would. But in this case, they didn't. They kind of got it. They understood. They're like, no, we just want to go ahead and get it sold and we can be done. In fact, they'll be closing next week, I guess. So we'll have their names up there next week. All right. So let's see where we are. And then I think, where can I go to look at your listings? That is a really good question. I think if you go to homes.com and enter my name, I think they will all show up there. There's like the system that we use with our brokerage. All my listings are there. They're on the MLS, but I honestly don't know if you can search agent on the other websites because I don't really pay attention to Zillow or Realtor.com. Because we got the real brains of all of that we work with as realtors. But I think on homes.com you can, because one of the things that one of the things that sets homes.com apart from the other third-party sites is that they do show who that listing agent is, and you can connect with them directly. So that's good. Oh, look at Allie. Look at Allie being all smart. Look at her. Wow. She's so smart. That's good. Homes.com. There you go. So there's the link. Anyway, all right. So as we get ready to wrap things up, I think there was one other. Was there another thing, Allie? I did not do Scoop. Let's do Scoop. And you know what? That I left off a letter there. My apologies. It's KHOV incentive. And what does that mean for you? Okay, so this is. Let me see if I can find it. I got a message. So we get. By the way, Sandy Baggett. Good morning, Sandy. I got your text message. I'll text you back. So KHOV Canadian is a builder out here. They have some amazing communities. Love them as a builder. Love their floor plans. They have Osprey Ranch and Horizon Isle, 2 communities out in the Ovation Village here in Horizon West in Disney's backyard, and they just have some really great incentives that are going on right now. And when I say that because if you're looking as a buyer, it is a great thing to consider if they have a home in a location at a price point that you like. That's fantastic. But it's also important to know if you are a seller in the area of a resale property, because when you have the builders that are like, hey, for whatever reason, end of the quarter, end of their fiscal year, whatever their motivation is, when you have the builders that are able to, you know, open up this vault of money and provide it to the buyer as an incentive potentially, right? Whether it's towards closing costs or just a price reduction or, you know, or realtor. I mean, to be honest, they're giving a really great realtor commission on those. And there's a lot of incentives to go take a look at those homes, which works. It absolutely works. I've had clients take advantage of that. They're like, "Ooh, I got that house for this much off." I'm like, "I know, that's like kind of cuckoo crazy, right?" But for wherever the motivation is, it's all legitimate. It's just a matter of where they are in their timing, whether they are in a quarter, where they are in their sales numbers. Sometimes they've only got a few properties left in the community and they just want to go ahead and close it out. That's happened. Sometimes that doesn't help the rest of the community very much, but that happens. But the reason I mention that is that because this builder has such great incentives right now in these two communities specifically, I'm not saying it's all over the place, but these two communities specifically here in the Ovation Village in Horizon West, that as a seller trying to sell in or around that same area, you got to play with the big boys, right? My rule is you cannot be comparable to the builders. You have to be competitive with them, because the builder with their deep pockets is going to win almost every time, unless, you know, you're able to kind of meet that. And unless there's, maybe you've got a perfect property that is much, much, much better than what the builder has as a new one. Okay, well then we're not talking the same thing. But you know, in some cases, if you're like, oh, I'm just looking for a bungalow, it doesn't really matter. They're all going to have a rear neighbor. It doesn't really matter. Like, they're all pretty much the same. Well, then it's harder to buy a resale when you can get a new one with the builder and take advantage of those incentives. So anyway, so just kind of file that away. So that's the inside scoop. There's some great incentives going on. So if you're interested, give me a call and let me know, and I'll follow up with some of those, because they do have both bungalows and beautiful single family homes. And again, love that builder. Done a lot with them in all their communities, and many communities out and about and around this area. Everything from townhouses to like total high-end luxury lakefront homes. It's one of the reasons I like that builder so much. So that's a good one. It's good to know. All right, let me see where we are. All right, guys, I think I am about done. So with that, because I do have some things I have to get taken care of. Today is a very busy Monday. I got lots of places to go, lots of people to see. I got to go pick up a sign and a lockbox from that house that just closed around the corner. So I have to go take care of that, and a few other things. So if you haven't had time yet, if you find that Mean Girls is coming near you, wherever you live, take a moment, go have a date with your daughter or your friend or your spouse or significant other, or just go yourself and go have a little outing. It's a fun show. It's not actually that long. You know, Allie, do you remember how long it was? Yeah, a little over 2.5 hours. So yeah, so it's a good little outing. So if they're coming near you, I think they finish up in June, so you may have already missed them, but check your local listings. Anyway, all right, guys. So I am going to get myself going. I'm going to head out, and I am going to follow up with some of you. I've been getting some couple text messages, so thank you guys. You got some questions happening. And by the way, we didn't get to the questions today, but don't forget about your questions. That's really important. I want to be able to answer those as you get them. So think of them. If you don't have them for today, write them down, and next week on coffee time, go ahead and let us know. So with that, I want to make sure that I remind everybody how much we appreciate you. Please stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you, and I really do appreciate you from the bottom of my heart for watching and sticking by me, and for just kind of all the little messages of support. I love you guys. All right, have a great day. Happy house hunting. Bye-bye.